Hello everyone and welcome to another week of Financial Tips. On this week, we are going to have a podcast session, and this is going to be the second podcast session of season 1. And as you always know, I don't always do the podcast session by myself. I always have an invited guest. For those who haven't watched the podcast session before, the podcast session is just to address a few concerns or a few questions in relation to 3 previous episodes that we do on Financial Tips. So on the first podcast session, we addressed the first 3 episodes. So on this second session, we will then go ahead to address a few questions or concerns in relation to the previous 3 after the first podcast session, so that our viewers out there will be satisfied or will be okay with whatever doubts or whatever issues that they may have with themselves. So on this session, I have a special guest with me. I have a female guest this time around. She is a very well-renowned person in the world of finance. She's an alumni of University of Ghana. She has worked with companies like the former Beige Bank, which is now with the Consolidated Bank of Ghana, or the Consolidated Bank. She has also worked with the Ghana Airports Limited. So I know she's also a director of administration with an NGO called Gifted Hands. It's a very potential NGO that's coming up in helping children out there and all the less fortunate. So I don't want to speak so much. I just want to go straight to the point. So without much ado, I'd like to invite my special guest in the name of Yvette Boateng. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to Financial Tips.
Thank you very much.
All right. What I always do anytime someone or I invite someone on Financial Tips, I ask them, are you a big fan of Financial Tips, or do you watch Financial Tips every week?
Yes, I watch Financial Tips every week.
And what do you think of Financial Tips so far?
I think it's a very good initiative for us, the young ones, because a lot of us are working and we still want to own businesses for ourselves and for our children in the future. So it's good because it encourages us as to how to go about establishing our own businesses and how we get source of funds and all of that. So it's a good initiative. Okay, keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
So, like I said, on this podcast session, she will be my co-host and we'll be addressing some of the few questions that we have received from episode 4, 5, and 6 of Financial Tips this season. So, I wouldn't want to waste so much time. I want to go straight to episode 4 of Financial Tips. Episode 4 was on credit policy and its concept in business. If you watched that episode, or if you haven't watched that episode, I entreat you to go to our social media platforms at the CEO Project on Facebook and the CEO Project channel on YouTube, where I spoke about credit policy and its concept in business. I spoke about the fact that in a way to increase your sale in your business, if you sell goods as a business owner, you can grant credit facility to some of your customers who you think are eligible to be granted credit policy, so that in as much as you want your goods to flow or your cash flow to move in the way you want it to, it will also go a long way to improve customer relationship and also add more revenue to your business, not only the cash and carry model. So I spoke about how you can find people eligible to grant credit policy to, the number of periods or the number of time that you think you can give the customer to come back and pay, and whether to also grant installment option or not. So that was on episode 4, and we got a few questions in regards to that. So I'm going to start with the first question in relation to credit policy in this concept episode. And the first question is, how long can I give, or how much time can I give my customer to repay a cloth that I sell in my shop? How much time can I give? Yvette, would you like to start with that?
Yes. I'm sure the person who sends this deals in selling materials and fabrics.
Yes, I'm sure.
So then with that case, I think there are 2 ways or options. If it's a new customer, I would give the person, let's say, a week or maximum 10 days for the person to pay me back my loan, because it's a new person. I don't know if after giving it to the person ran away. Like, I can't really tell because the person is new. But if it's an old customer that I've worked with for a while, I'm sure I would I'll give the person, let's say, a month. But that one will be upon request. If you, the customer, asks me, oh, I won't be able to pay the amount until like after a month, then I'll be able to negotiate with you. And that one, I'm sure I would even give you three weeks, not a month, so that you'll be able to pay back. Yes, so that's it. But make sure when you give out a loan to someone, make sure it won't affect your business, because you can give a loan to someone and at the end it will affect your business and you won't be able to run your business as and when you want it. So I think that's my answer to that question.
Okay, I'll buttress the point with regards to that. I think she said most of the things I want to say, but let me just add a few things. So like she said, it depends on the customer that you want to grant the period of repayment to. If it's not someone that you have so much of a personal relationship with, or if it's not someone that you know so well, I will not advise you out there to do that. I will not advise you out there to give the person a substantially long period of time to repay, so that your loan, so that the money that you are expecting to come to your business will not end up being a bad debt in the long run. So if it's somebody that you know, or you have a lot of previous transactions with, and you know this person definitely, I trust, he or she will come back and come and buy again, then fine, you can then give that person, let's say 3 weeks or a month, depending on what or how much that person is expecting to receive as the loan facility or something. So it depends on how you see your customer, whether it's a regular customer or a one-time customer. So whoever sent this, I don't know the kind of customer you are referring to, but we have given you both options. So you can then evaluate and then see the realistic amount of time that you think you can give that customer. So I want to go to the next question in regards to the same credit policy episode, and it says, how can you tell if a customer can repay a product later to avoid bad debt? How can you tell as a business owner? How can you tell? What do you think?
How can you tell? Before you give out a credit policy or a loan to someone, you have to know the person. Like, you can't give a loan to someone without knowing details of the person, where the person works, if the person is working or not, how the person intends to pay you back the amount like the person is asking for, and all of that. So you have to do a background check to find out how the person will pay, salary the person is earning and all. Like, you don't give out credit based on friendship. If it's business, it's business. Don't mix business with pleasure. The person can be your friend and all of that, but when it's business, a client is not like giving out money.
It depends on, sorry to catch you on that. It depends on, let's say, the background or the past relationship that you have had initially with the person. If, like I said in the first point, it kind of reconnects it. If there are transactions that come in, or you think that a lot of things have happened in the past where the person deems worthy of being granted that policy, not considering the personal relationship, because like I said, every time I come on Financial Tips, I say this, that never mix your personal life with your business life, because that is one way of, that is the beginning of the end of your business. You should always see your business as a separate entity. So never ever consider personal relationship with regards to yourself or regards to your customer. So you have to look at it in a way that you see the relationship or the worthiness of that person. As in, is that person capable? Is the person a business person? Is the person, what does the person do that can assure me that he or she has the capacity or the capability to repay you? So that comes down to you finding out that information by yourself, because every customer is different. You cannot evaluate one customer and use that same evaluation on another customer. So this question comes down to which particular customer you are referring to, and then you will know how well you can evaluate that person and know if that person is worthy to be a customer or not. So whoever gave us this question, I'll advise you, in regards to the customers that you are referring to, make sure you have this critical analysis and evaluation on that, and then you know whether to repay. Do you want to add anything concerning that?
No, I think
yes, I think I've just buttressed the point for them. So I'll then go on to the third question. That's the last question on the episode 4 of credit policy. And someone asked, how flexible can I allow my customers to repay my goods back? I'm sure the person was asking how lenient or how can I structure my recollection method so that it becomes flexible for my customers. I'm sure the person was trying to put it that way. So probably if it comes down to installment, how can I spread it? How much installment amount can I demand so that it can be flexible to the business owner and to the customer as well? So someone is asking, how do you manage this two-sided issue to make both parties satisfied? Would you like to
How flexible?
Yeah.
I think the flexibility would have to do with the relationship you have with the customer. Because if it's a first-time customer and you're too flexible, the person will know or think that you don't really need the money to help you run your business, because they'll be very lenient in paying back the amount. But if it's an old customer and you know the person constantly pays when you give the person credit, it will be advisable for you to give the person a bit of flexibility, because maybe in that instance the person is having a tight schedule when it comes to money. The person has to sort other businesses. That is why the person is requesting for that time.
If someone hasn't given you that history of defaulting his or her payment, you can then know whether you can be flexible or not.
Yes,
or then,
if the person constantly pays,
then
it won't
fine.
be a problem being flexible with.
So what if it's a one-time person that you don't really know?
If it's a one-time person, I
are you
don't
going to still be flexible to that person?
If it's a one-time person, I don't really know.
Yes.
I think I won't give the person, like, the credit
So
I'll give
much
to the person will be
flexibility.
very limited.
Okay.
It won't be too high, so that when you're paying, you'll be
You don't
tight
struggle.
and struggling. No, it won't be too high. And if you're a first-time customer, it will be minimal. I won't give you like I'm giving to my old customers. Do you understand the point I'm making?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's it. So it depends on the relationship I have with the customer and the flexibility duration.
Okay. Thank you so much, Yvette, for that point. I think it's going to be really helpful for whoever is watching this podcast session and also has a little concern in regards to that question or that topic as a whole. So I'm going to skip to episode 5 now. We have a few questions on that. Episode 5 and 6 are kind of similar. They were just separated into 2 parts, and the topic was 8 efficient ways of effectively protecting, managing, and growing your money. Because we live in a world where people really have problems with regards to their personal finance in relation to its management per se, and also how to also control and also even multiply and grow it. So we dedicated these 2 episodes to effectively helping people out there to control themselves and how they manage their money, and also what to do with their money and how their money can work for them. So it was an 8-point topic, but 4 points was given for episode 5 and the last 4 was given for episode 6. So I'll go with episode 5 in regards to the first 4 points, and there were a few questions for that, and I would like to start with the first question, which is, I have a very bad habit of self-control when it comes to my money. Can you give me a few tips on how to work on that? Let me say it again. I have a very bad habit of self-control when it comes to my money. Can you give me a few tips on how to work on that? Yvette, will you start with this one? Self-control. Most people have that problem. They don't really know how to control themselves when they have money on them, and then they'll have probably 100 CDs. By the time they realize all the money is gone, they don't really know what they really did with the money. So what do you think, what tip can you really give people out there, financial tips viewers out there, with regards to
I think as an individual, you have to form a good habit of money, how to save money and all of that. And the good habits, some include savings. You can save with any bank, get interest and all of that. So the first point you have to do, you have to learn a saving. The other point is you have to learn to prioritize. Before you buy stuff, make sure you really need it. It's very important. It's a necessity. Don't buy it because, oh, my friend has an iPhone, so I also want to buy an iPhone, but you have a phone. Do you understand? You buy the things that are very necessary. So the second point is you are prioritizing. And the last point I want to talk about is you plan. You know, some people go to town and they have money on them and they want to spend. Impulse buying. Impulse buying does not help. It really doesn't help. Yeah. So the 3 points I'll talk about is saving. You save with any bank, do the investment. The other one, you prioritize. And the third one is you plan and avoid impulse buying. So I think that's what I'll talk about.
Okay, let me add a few tips as well with regards to that. She has said some of what I wanted to say, and a part of it was the prioritizing aspect. So it all comes down to the budgeting as well. You need to know what you actually need and what not you want, because people have that misconception of regarding both sides at every point in time. They actually buy things they want rather than what they need. So actually, when it gets to a time that you have to buy something that you need, then you don't have money together because you bought something that you want, of which its use is not as much as compared to what you need. So people have to prioritize and see how well they will know how to allocate their money with regards to that. So that's one point that I will say. The another point that I will say is a lot of people say when they have a lot of cash on them, they don't really know how to manage it and all that. For those people with that problem out there, I'll just tell you that if that is your main problem, then hold as much as you need at every point in time. Don't really hold so much cash and so much physical cash, I'll say. Some people also have the temptation of using the ATM machine all the time. So I know someone who had that problem initially, and he started to not use the ATM machine anymore, just because anytime he passes by any bank or his bank, a branch that has the ATM machine, he's always tempted to do that. So I advise him, if then why don't you then suspend the use of your ATM to control yourself from using that at a point in time, so that it doesn't look like you always have that temptation to do that. People really have ATM cards for the sake of weekends or locations where they don't have that branch, but then they abuse it to the level that at a point where they don't even need money, because they have the card on them, they always feel like, oh, let me just go to the machine and just withdraw some money. At the end of the day, it all comes down to the mismanagement of your money. So I will say that if those people who have the temptation of having so much cash with them, try and hold as little cash as possible. Just hold the effective and efficient amount of cash that you need at every point in time. You can have a minimum amount that you can have in a day, and don't take so much all the time, so that you know that so and so days I'm holding X amount of money, and if it runs out, I will then recap and know what I effectively did with that money, so that way it doesn't look like I'm misspending or I'm mismanaging my money. So that is the few tips that I will give to buttress a point on the first question of episode 5. So I'll go to the second question on episode 5. Someone asked, does hanging out a lot with friends or hanging out a lot attribute to a main cause of mismanaging money? Does hanging out a lot mismanage money? What do you think?
With that question, I think it depends. It's a yes and a no. That personally is a yes and a no. It's a no because I can hang out with friends in a friend's house. So let's say you want to go and play FIFA or something in a friend's house. You're hanging out at a friend's house. The only expenses will be your transport from your house to the friend's house and back. You understand? So that one, you won't really be using a lot of money. But on the other side, it's a yes because maybe we are going out to chill somewhere. Aside the transport we'll pay for, or maybe we'll fuel a car. Aside that, we'd have to buy food, drinks, you've gone out to chill, so you have to chill. Yes. And when you're coming back, fuel, transport and all of that. So yes, that one too is a yes. So it's a yes and a no. It depends on where you're hanging out and all of that. Yes. I think so.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with that. It's kind of two-sided. What do you do when you go out? What activities do you involve yourself in? Are you going to someone's house? Are you going to a friend's house? Are you going to the beach? What are you going to do with your money? Or what intention do you have when you say you are going out? That will also come down to how well we can spin down to this particular question. So if it's a matter of you going out to just a friend's place to just hang out, which doesn't require so much money, it depends on what's going to happen, then it's not I won't say it's a major cause of you mismanaging your money. But if it's an outside event where you're going for a program, or you're going to, let's say, the beach, and you're going for a party, and probably there is a lot of cost involved, and it's very frequent, then I will say then you have to watch it. That is what probably might be the main cause. So it depends on the lifestyle of the person. It all comes down to the lifestyle and what actually the person is doing. Then that will also come down to how you effectively manage or mismanage your money in regards to how long you hang out. Yeah.
And how many times you hang out?
Yeah, and how many times you hang out.
Because some people hang out every Friday, every weekend.
It's so frequent. Yes, people have that.
If you do that, then you are mismanaging your money.
Yes.
Because it's always, and it will be the same amount always. How much are you earning at the end of the month?
And how much are you going to save at the end of the day? It all comes down to that. So you have to check it, because it's very, very key on how you manage your money. Yes. So we'll go on to the next question under episode 5, which is, can you advise on genuine or authentic investment packages out there, since there are a lot of shady ones now? Can you advise on genuine or authentic investment packages out there, since there are a lot of shady ones now? I'm sure right now, because of all these fiascos and all the way people's investments are not going the way they are going, monies are being locked somewhere, people are kind of getting paranoid about where to put their money. I'm sure that's why someone is asking such questions. So what do you think you can advice on that? Is there any other investment
Authentic
package?
investment package. One can be real estate.
Real estate.
Yes.
Okay.
It's one of the safest
Real estate, okay.
investments in the world. Like
Okay.
real estate. Yeah. You can push your money into it, building houses, renting them out, leasing them out, and all of that. You get enough cash back. Yeah, you get enough.
Not to
cash
cut you on that, but I think, what about if investment in real estate requires a lot of capital? What about some people who don't have a lot of money?
So it's not for everybody. Real
Okay.
estate is not for. It's for people who have like
Substantial
money,
amounts.
and they won't be caught up when they invest inside it. They
Okay.
won't have to be begging for money and all of
Their
that.
money will never be
So
locked in
if-
a real estate
if they-
investment.
Yes, if they use it for such purposes, they'll
Okay.
still have enough money to take care of their family and other expenses. Yes.
Okay.
So real estate is one of them, and we also have financial investments.
Okay.
When it comes to savings, we have
Yes.
fixed term deposit, treasury bills, and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
We can have shares, bonds, all of those things. They are all
Okay.
financial investments.
Okay. All right. Let me buttress on that. So, like we said, she said for investment in the real investment packages like the real estate, it's a very safe form of investment.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that it can be substantially required when it comes to investing your money. So, in as much as you don't have so much money, you can do the financial investment. If you think you can go with the substantial investment, then you can do the real estate because it's a very lucrative industry. Your interest rate it also works with number of years. So the more years that you invest in, the more you reap back with your principal and also your interest that accrues on it. So with the financial investment, she said treasury bills. I'll take this as an opportunity to tell you the current rates that are available in the country right now for the treasury bills. So for the 91-day treasury bill, we have a discount rate of 13.92% and an interest rate of 14.42%. For the 182-day treasury bill, as I'm speaking to you currently, we have a discount rate of 13.62% and an interest rate of 14.61%. For the 1 year fixed note interest rate, we have a fixed rate of 15%. For the 2 year fixed note interest rate, we have a rate of 19.5%. The 3 year bond interest rate carries a rate of 18%. The 5 year bond interest rate carries 17%, and the 10 year bond interest rate carries 17.5%. So these rates I'm giving you is as of today. It may change in the future, it may change with time, but I'm speaking with the current rates that are being worked in the investment on the economy that we are in right now with respect to Ghana. I know this podcast session is very, very domestically related in regards to Ghana issues, because I know people out there from other countries are also watching. So bear with me for those financial tips viewers out there who are not in Ghana and they feel like it's very, very specific. We entreat that you bear with us, because some of the questions that they are pointing or putting at us is very specific. That is why this financial tip episode is very Ghana or locally oriented. But we are also trying to get answers that are also universal as possible, so that wherever you are all over the world, you also benefit from whichever answer that we are giving to you. But for like interest rates and these things, they are very, very local, or they are very domestic related. So for those who are not in Ghana watching financial tips, we plead that you bear with us for that. Thank you.
Yeah, I would want to talk about the fixed deposit.
Okay.
The fixed deposit is the bank's version of a treasury bill.
Okay.
Yeah, and you invest your money for a specific duration, and the specific amount of money you invest determines the rate you get.
Okay.
Yes. So fixed term, fixed deposit comes. The durations vary. You can have 30 days, 60 days, 91 days, 182 days, and all. And it's a very good deal to do fixed term deposits, because the amount of money you invest and the duration you want determines the rates you can get. You can negotiate with the bank and they would give you a good deal.
Oh.
Do you understand? Yes. And the rates vary from bank to bank. You can go to bank A, you get a very high rate, and you go to bank B, the same amount, but you get a different rate. So every bank and their fixed deposits, how they go about it.
Okay. which means that you have to make your inquiries really well if you really want to benefit from the best rate that a financial institution can give you. Our advice that you don't just go to one bank and just say, okay, fine, I'll settle with your rates. With the other banks that you can also try to get the best rates, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to how much you can multiply your money as high as possible. So try and get the best rate out there for your fixed term deposit, and I think that will help.
And with a fixed term deposit, you can't withdraw your money until the time you
it has to mature.
It has to mature.
Okay.
And if there's an emergency or you have to withdraw,
yes,
you do that at a fee. You pay, like, you're charged, yes, as a penalty for that. Yeah.
For early withdrawal.
Yes, early withdrawal or
okay.
redemption.
So for those who are not so conversant with investment packages, you need to know that it works upon maturity. It is a contract between you and a financial institution where you invest your money, and at an agreed period, you then come back and collect it at the accrued interest on top of it. So if something happens and you come before the maturity date, then you have breached the contract details. So that the financial institution will then charge a so-called penalty for early withdrawal. So you don't actually earn as much as you think you will with the maturity amount. You actually earn less. Probably with an unforeseen circumstance, it will come as if you need your money desperately, so you can't wait for it to mature. Yeah. So don't expect to get the rest of your money. Even if it's the full principal, the full initial amount that you deposited, you may not get the full money because there will be a small percentage that will be charged as a penalty for early withdrawal. So please take note of that. So I'll jump on that note. I'll go to episode 6, which is the part 2 of the topic 8 effective ways of managing, protecting, and growing your money, which I spoke about the last 4 points concerning that, and there were 3 questions with regards to that. So I'll go ahead and start with the first question, which is, I like the idea of the emergency fund. Can I make such savings into a pure investment account instead of the savings account? Let me say it again. I like the idea of the emergency fund. Can I make such savings into a pure investment account instead of the savings account? What do you think?
No, you can't make a savings.
You wouldn't advise?
No, I won't advise that.
Okay.
Because an emergency fund is just for emergency purposes.
As the name goes.
Emergency purposes. A savings is savings.
Okay.
You can go in for your savings, upkeeping and all of that. But when you talk about investment account, it's for investment purposes. It has a specific duration in which it will mature.
Okay.
You understand? Yes. So if you are saving money for emergency purposes, I'd advise you do a savings. So you can do all the 2 accounts. You can have a savings account and also be running an investment account.
Yes.
So that the savings will help you when there's an emergency or something. You can go for the money from the savings accounts to help you sort that emergency.
Yes.
But with the investment, sometimes if it doesn't mature and you want it for an immediate situation, you have to solve a problem and you're going for your money, and that's the only account you have, an investment account. It's not advisable because sometimes it takes 3 days, 1 week for them to process it and all. So I would advise, if you want, you like the idea of emergency fund, it's advisable you have a savings that you use for that investment.
Okay.
For that emergency purpose. Yeah.
Okay.
So the investment is different from the savings.
Okay. Sure.
Yes.
All right. Let me say something concerning that. I'm sure the person asked this question because in the episode 6, I said when the emergency fund is open and that money is there, since it's not going to be used for your day-to-day transaction, you expect that it won't just lie down there without making any money for you. So I advise that you open a savings account with regards to that. But somebody is asking if the investment account can be used as a replacement for the savings account so that it may be there for you and make even more money than the savings account. But the problem is, we are in a world where we don't know how fast or how early unforeseen circumstances may come our way. So what if you put it in an investment account and a day comes where you need the money so much, but the financial institution or the investment package that you have signed up with cannot give you your money after a period of time, maybe 3 working days, maybe 5 working days, and it will be a big disadvantage to you that you have money somewhere and you cannot actually access your money. That will really be a very unfortunate scenario for anyone in that. So I'll say that in as much as you would like to put that in an investment, it will not be advisable because as the name goes, it's an emergency. It will come at a time that you don't expect it. And investments work, like I said earlier, it works in a way that it will only gain interest on your amount or your money after it matures. So if you put your money in an investment account and it hasn't matured and there is an unforeseen circumstance and you go for your money, at the end of the day, it would have been better off if you are putting it in the savings account. So I will advise you that you would not open an emergency fund for an investment account, but rather put it in the savings account, so that at least with a little interest or with the minor interest that you earn from the savings account, you can go to the bank anytime to withdraw your money and nobody can tell you to come at a later time because you are not eligible to do so. So that is what we will both advise with regards to that. I will go to the last but not the least is when can a person start enjoying his or her SSNIT contribution benefits? When can a person start? Well, I spoke about the SSNIT contribution as a way of securing your future. It was one of the effective ways of effectively controlling and managing your money. And I said you have to plan towards your future by making judicious and wise investments like life assurance policy and your SSNIT contribution. And somebody is asking, at what point in my life would I start enjoying this SSNIT contribution? And the age that you need to attain to enjoy such benefits is 60 years. 60 years. You need to be 60 years and above to start enjoying SSNIT benefits. If for one reason or another you decide to start enjoying your benefit below 60 years, you will not get the full amount of contribution benefits that's supposed to be allocated to you at that point in time. Because there are instances where people don't reach the age of 60, but they feel like they don't want to work anymore and they want to start enjoying their SSNIT contribution. Maybe 55, maybe 57. When it happens that way, SSNIT will still pay you though. They will still pay you per se, but you will not enjoy the full benefit as much as you expected to if you had gotten to the age of 60. So I think that answers your question as to when you think you can start enjoying your SSNIT contribution details. The final question under episode 6 and our last question for this podcast session is, what about Tier 2 and Tier 3 of the Social Security contribution or Social Security fund, and how are they paid? For the Tier 2 is a private Social Security investment scheme where it is the employee who makes that payment in a way that is deducted from his or her salary at the end of the month, and the employer pays on his or her behalf at a rate of 5%. So if you are abreast with how your payroll works, or for people who are abreast with how payroll works, you know every employee is deducted a rate of 5.5%, of which 5% goes to Tier 2 and 0.5 adds to the 30% of the employer to make 30.5 to pay the Tier 1 of the SSNIT contribution. So it's 5% for Tier 2, 0.5 for Tier 1, and the Tier 3 is the Provident Fund, which is not imperative. It's an optional investment. It's an optional contribution that comes between the employer and the employee as to who should bear that cost. The rate for the Tier 3 is not fixed. It all comes down to the employee and the employer. I think the minimum can be 5% and above, depending on how well or how much the employee feels he can pay, or how much the employer feels he can pay on behalf of the Providence Fund. So the Tier 3 is not a necessity, but the Tier 1 and Tier 2 is always a necessity. Tier 1 is paid by the employer, of which he contributes 30%. 0.5 of the employee's 5.5 is added to the employer's rate to pay the Tier 1, and the 5% is paid for Tier 2. The Tier 2 can be paid in a private scheme like Petra Adventures Trust. Petra Adventures Trust can also be paid in Tier 3. It's just an example of a private organization that takes Tier 3. I know there are other ones out there, but I'm just using one as an example. And SSNIT takes only the Tier 1. So that is the general concept behind all these three tier contributions and how they are paid. So that is how it works every month for the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. So as an employee and as an employer, you need to be aware of these three tiers and how well you can effectively pay them to secure your future, like I said in my episode 6, because you need to. I gave a few tips. I think I gave a few rates with regards to that. I think I mentioned the 30.5 in episode 6. So I'm trying to repeat it again for those who haven't gotten a chance to watch the part 2 of the topic I was talking about. So all these questions that we've spoken about, all those who haven't watched episode 4, 5, 6, I know you are having problems, or you have a problem with catching up or being abreast about some of the answers that we are giving. So I will entreat you to go to our social media platforms and watch it, and it will be of massive benefit to you. This podcast session has been a great honor. I couldn't do it by myself. I did it with the help of Yvette Watson, and I want to thank her so much for coming and joining me on board on this. It's been a pleasure. I hope this will not be the last time I'll see you on Financial Tips. Thank you very much. So like I said, on this note, this comes down to the end of our podcast session, our second podcast session this season on Financial Tips. And I hope all these questions that was put on us on this 3 previous episodes, we've satisfied you with the answers that we've provided. And we hope that with future episodes that's going to come on, and also future podcast sessions, we are all going to be satisfied as we all target the future objective of financial tips, that is managing and controlling our money in the world of personal finance and also in the world of entrepreneurship. So I just want to say something small in regards to financial tips in relation to the future. Financial tips, I always say, is here to stay. It's always going to be beneficial, what's not, I mean, it's always going to be there to give people an advice, because money is something that's going to be inevitable in our life. That is why we have come up with this initiative to help people out there with how well to use it and how to accumulate wealth in the long run. So I advise every viewer of Financial Tips to keep watching, because trust me, you are not going to regret this opportunity and how much time you allocate week in, week out to watch each and every episode that comes out. And I know it will never be a regret whatsoever. I'll like to cut this podcast session short, and I want to thank everybody. I always say that it's not just me, it's a whole team. When it comes to the camera guys, when it comes to the video editing, all these things that come on, it's not just me sitting behind the camera telling you all these things. It's a collective effort. So I always use an opportunity to thank all these people, because at the end of the day, I cannot sit here and say I deserve every credit that comes to me. It's a collective effort, so I feel like I should give credit where it is due. So I thank everybody who has been helping me directly and indirectly concerning financial tips on this podcast session as well. So on that note, I'll entreat everyone, for all those who haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so and subscribe. The name is The CEO Project, and also on Facebook, please like our page, The CEO Project, and keep abreast with every episode that comes in, and you will never regret it. So on that note, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care and God bless.